upset like Cinderella teens. You should see the things I feel inside these denim jeans. I can't associate with y'all, this shit like ketamine. Been on one, been on two, been on everything. Bitch, I'm with my gang, with my squad, what the fuck you want? So be rolling gas, I can't hang, bitch, I'm fucking gone. I got people down from the jump, better know your bonds. I got people just tuning in, and the love is strong. Damn, they gon' want a piece when you got it like that. Like Jake said, we gon' spend it, get it right back. Stack that internet money till the site crash. They on IG tryna get a like back. See, they don't talk that talk, they just type fast. Yeah, we real life cool, it's really like that. I might roll an eighth inside the blunt, that's a nightcap. Like where my lighter at, boy, I got a flight to catch. Through these ups and these downs, swear to God, ain't a damn thing changed. Don't forget where that sauce came from, best remember my name. You take L's ain't once in a while, gotta charge to the game. You gotta charge it to the game. Yeah, yeah. Through these ups and these downs, swear to God, ain't a damn thing changed. Don't forget where that sauce came from, best remember my name. Ooh. I'm just trying to make my bread and feed the fam. These fuckboys need to grow up like Peter Pan. Sometimes I get so high, I never land. Ain't no need to overthink it, I already understand. They been plotting on my downfall and need another plan. But we welcome all that.
What's up, everyone? Happy hump day. It's Wednesday night. We are officially live, and I have a interesting, boring topic to share. We're not going to talk about anything exciting here today, so if you're here for the fuck shit, you're not going to find it here. This is pretty much a very not interesting topic, but this is a good to know topic. This is something that benefited me a lot over the past 10 years traveling around the world, and how I actually leverage a lot of these tips to enhance my travel experiences, as well as getting money back in return. And I have a special invited guest, Mr. Roland, the Traveler, aka Alex. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, Kanal? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right, man. You
ready for Wednesday the fun
night? Yeah, it's not a fun topic. We're not here showing, mangoes or have any travel beefs. So this is a very boring topic. And again, I'm not expecting a lot of people to sit down and actually.
This is the biggest travel beef you can possibly have.
Oh man, look, these travel beefs out there is ridiculous, man. I thought the whole point of traveling the world is to escape the fuckery. These dudes are taking the fuckery with them. And I'm like, wow. But this is not the platform, guys. We're talking about taxes. Taxes. So it's not fun, but it's something that you need to know, and how you could actually write off a lot of your travel expenses, which I do. And any successful person needs to know how to do this and benefit them. So let's talk about it, Alex. What's your thought on it? Well, if anything, Alex, give us an introduction of who you are and everything else.
Yo, if you want to look me up on LinkedIn, I can be found. So I'm verifiable, which Canal tries to do with bringing on guests. Hopefully I do the same. My name is Alexander W. Foster Sr. So you can Google me. I will pop up. I've been in the industry for almost 30 plus years in sales. I'm migrated from several different types of professions, from electronics and networking to pharmaceuticals to life insurance. And then I got into financial planning and retirement planning towards the end of my work history. And I am currently semi-retired military vet. So.
All right. Okay. So let's talk about taxes, man. Like, how can we leverage our travel expenses to be written off? And there's a lot of ways we could actually do that. And we're going to talk about that. And again, guys, this is not a fun topic. This is not a sexy topic. This is a good topic that you need to know. I'm going to start off. Guys, one way you could actually write off your travels expenses is to start a LLC. And Alex could actually go in further detail in this. I have 2 LLC. Black Man Travel is a LLC. It's a business. Although I'm just a blogger, I position it as a business. So a lot of my traveling that I use my Black Man Travels credit card, business credit cards, and I keep all the receipts from flight purchases, hotel, meals, transportation. By the time I leave out of that house, I'm expensing everything. So when I walk out of that door with my suitcase, from the Uber transportation to my plane reservation, hotel reservation, meals that I purchased during my flight, I write all that stuff down. And one trick that I do, I carry a Ziploc bag. And this Ziploc bag, I throw all my receipts in there. So if you work in corporate America, that's what we do. We keep all of our receipts, and we have to, some companies has a process where you have to take a picture of your receipt. You have to upload it to a system so they can process it. What I do is I take a Ziploc bag and I just throw all my receipts. So it doesn't matter where I'm at in the world, that Ziploc bag, let me take a step. I take that same Ziploc bag and I put the name of that country I'm going to. So whenever I have receipts in my pockets for my flight receipts, just thrown into the Ziploc bag. So when it's time for tax season, I can refer to that particular country and time frame. And one thing that I do too on that Ziploc bag, I put the dates that I'm out of, I'm actually out of the country. So if I'm going to Brazil on, September 11th through the 15th, I will state that on my Ziploc bag. So all my receipts that I incurred during that time frame, I throw it into that Ziploc bag. And one thing I do as well, every country I go to, I set up one business meeting. It could be a rental property viewing. It could be like exploring, some timeshares opportunity, or just, thinking about opening a restaurant or a bar. Like I'll schedule meetings with owners in these countries. And one thing that I'll do is I'll keep a track record of my communication. So as long as you show proof that you are making plans to start a business or have a business in that particular place, and there's correspondence between you and that person, that's a tax write-off. You need to show proof why you're going to this country. You can't just say, I'm gonna go to Brazil, go to Rio and party it up and expense it. It doesn't work that way. You got to show proof that you were there for business. And the only way you could do that is through your correspondence. When I mean your correspondence, that's your email. Some type of communication that shows that you made effort. You made an itinerary to actually have a business meeting. Alex, you could chime in on this.
All right. So that's on the business end. If you're doing an LLC, now part of this is also for YouTubers. Okay. A lot of you guys haven't gone through the formalities of getting LLCs to protect your name against lawsuits. That's really what the LLC does against a sole proprietor. Okay. So if you're a sole proprietor, you don't necessarily have to have an LLC. You're running off of your social security number. All the risk is on you and your personal income. Okay. If something happens to you while you're out in the commission of doing something, you can be sued. Boom. You have no protection. It's 100% you. But at the same time, it doesn't stop you from being able to write off a lot of things when it comes to your travel. Okay. If you're a YouTuber and you are traveling, you are blogging, you are filming, anything you're doing as far as in the commission of putting content out, that starts to become subject to being able to be written off. Hotels, flights, just like Kanal said in the business side, on the personal side, it works that same way. So again, if you're documenting everything when it comes to your content, how you got there, you're doing interviews, you're showing, whatever you're showing on your content as a provider, as a sole proprietor, you can start writing that stuff off on the back end. Those travel expenses don't have to be expenses. Ultimately, what your goal is as a YouTuber is what? To get monetized, right? Once you start earning money, you get monetized, you get your viewership up, you get all the things up that you need to do as an individual. You can still write those costs off. Okay. So you're going to take a loss. In any business, it takes you anywhere from 3 to 5 years to turn a profit. So even though you're a budding YouTuber, hello, that's me. I'm a budding YouTuber. So everything from the cost of my cameras to the expenses that I just spent on a cruise, the flights getting there, my food, those things can be written off even on my personal taxes as a write-off. I don't have to necessarily take the hit and just say, oh, it was a vacation. No, it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Now, the information that both me and Kanal, I'm financial planner and retirement. Kanal is in another business. The things I'm telling you have been verified by a tax and a CPA. I advise you guys, take this information, do your research, also verify with whoever your tax preparer or your certified public accountant is. They will verify the information we're giving you today is accurate. Certain things will be able to be written off with the percentage. Some things you can write off 100%, which is better than what you guys have been doing right now. If you weren't even aware of the fact that you can write off a lot of these expenses that you're incurring while you're trying to grow your YouTube channel, way better. Even just take it for food. Food, you get 50% back. Okay, so all your food that you're expending on your trips, as long as you're keeping your receipts or tracking it with your credit card, you can print up a receipt. Guess what? You get 50% of that back. You're already saving money. We haven't even talked about the flights, the hotel stay, and everything else. Now, some of your entertainment, come on now. If you guys are doing some of those other things, you're not going to necessarily get to write those off. Go ahead, Kano.
No, Fearless Podcast stated you can't go 3 years writing things off without showing a profit. I agree. So guys, try to make an effort of showing some type of profit. Lucky for me, I incorporated mine about 2 years ago, and now I'm starting to see some profit in regards to stuff that I'm doing on the side through my Black Man Travels LLC. Now, recently, I just launched a marketing company as well called Always Marketing, and that I use for traveling as well. So one thing I do, again, as I said before, I travel with a purpose. Even though it's personal, I try to at least make a couple of days or a day for business related things. If I'm thinking about purchasing land or property or a store, a bit like local businesses, those are reasons for you to actually claim your travel expenses. And again, as long as you show some type of correspondence, some type of itinerary, you could actually expense a lot of your travel expenses. Just keep in mind that you got to show proof that why you're traveling is for business. It can't just be strictly for pleasures. And definitely, I want to give a shout out to IBN, the Global Spinner. Definitely thank you for the super chat, man. I really appreciate that, brother. Now, Alex, people want to know in regards
Yes,
to
sir.
like their travel expenses, like what else can they actually write off if they do have a LLC or a S corp?
Camera equipment. I mean, that's a primary thing you're filming, right? So the content that you're filming, you can write it off. Now, there's a lot of business owners that can buy huge equipment. That equipment can be depreciated over a period of years. Okay, you can take an instant depreciation, or you can space it out over a period of 5 years and depreciate that value of whatever you're buying. Okay, so vehicles, stuff like that, equipment, those things are going to depreciate right off the over a period of 5 years or so. But smaller things, camera equipment, things like that, drones, you should go ahead and take the instant write-off that year for those purchases. Why? Because there's always an upgrade coming within a year or two you buying that thing. Okay, part of the depreciation value on equipment is because over the period of time that it depreciates, something new comes out, something later, greater, better, that your company's always going to want to upgrade to. IRS knows that, so that's why they give you a period of so many years to write something off, because you're always going to upgrade. They know it's going to be dictated that you're going to upgrade it. With camera equipment, things like that, you can write that off right away. Your cell phones, you're buying your cell phones, you're filming with those, you can write that stuff off. Okay. Take it off the top.
One thing I want to let you guys know, all this stuff you see up here are my equipment. These are my camera lenses, my camera. I have other cameras, my drone, all that is insured. And that's the thing, guys. If you are a YouTuber and you're purchasing equipment, make sure you put insurance on your equipment through Allstate or through State Farm, because in case your bag gets stolen or lost, you could actually claim those items. So everything this something that Bacchus put me on a few years back, is to make sure that all your equipment, all your travel equipment is insured. So if you were to lose your bag or get stolen, or Chica drugged you and robbed you, you can claim it. So make sure all your assets, from your laptop, your anything that you use for work related purposes, make sure it's insured through State Farm or Allstate. They have a great insurance program now for content creators, where if you were to lose it, you can actually get all your money back based on the value that you hinted that your equipment's worth. So that's something to keep in mind. One thing you should look into as well, and again, guys, if you are a content creator, it's not really expensive to start an LLC, depending on your state. Like here in Georgia, it's only $95. But I think if you were to go to like North Dakota, Montana, like Vermont, it's like $40, $50 a year. So if you are considering, becoming a content creator, and or you want to start a travel concierge business, start an LLC. That way you're protecting yourself, but also too, you can write it off if you're doing something that you really enjoy, but make sure that you're trying to make a profit. You're trying to like create some type of revenue behind it.
Right. Mr. Fearless asked a question about, you can also write off a portion of your house if you're using it. Absolutely, you can. Per square foot of whatever the size of your overall building is, whether it be an apartment or whether it be in house, whatever your square footage is in the room. Like I'm using a second bedroom right now as my office. So I can write off against whatever my overall rent is. I can write off for that square footage off my rent every month.
I agree.
Okay.
And also too,
so he's absolutely correct. You're doing editing in your room, whatever. Yeah, go ahead.
No, and also too, guys, if you're using your phone a lot for business, write that off. Just, you got to understand what's the percentage of your phone usage goes towards your business versus your personal. I say, like, what I do is I write off 40% of my phone usage towards business, and the remaining is personal, because that's more realistic. Don't try to unless you got a business phone that's 100% committed to your business, it cannot be your personal cell phone. It has to be a business line. Then yes, you can write that off. And just like what Fearless Podcast just highlighted, you could actually write off the square footage of your office. Like if you want to section off a room, like the living room, or take a whole bedroom and get the square footage, and you could actually write that off because that is an office space. So again, guys, what I like to do is I have multiple business credit cards. I have some with American Express. I have some with with Citibank, Chase, and those business cards, they're for Black Man Travels and for Always On Marketing. So any expenses that I pick up on these two cards is easy to track. So if my CPA wants to see all the expenses that I made during my travels, I could just pull one report or multiple reports from my business credit cards. So if you are traveling, try to stick to one or two cards. Don't use multiple credit cards because you're going to lose count exactly where your expense went. I mean, unless you're like myself, where I carry that Ziploc bag with me and I just throw all my receipts in there. I never throw not a single receipt. And the receipt could be in a whole different language. I try to make sure I get the American price. Like, okay, what's the, if I pay 1,000 baht for something, I try to get it in dollars so I understand. So if I need to report it, because there's a possibility that you may get audit. So if you do get audit, you got to make sure you have all the documentations ready to go.
Or at least documented proof. So obviously, if you're filming content, you can show that you actually were in a certain country where you can actually justify some of those expenses right off the bat because you were in that country, and you show proof positive you were filming in that country. Okay, so write-offs, what that means is it goes against your income. So let's say, for instance, you're making $8K a month. You're paying your basic bills, your rent, your car notes, all your insurances and things like that. But that month, you take a trip. That trip is actually, you've heard of ROI, right? Return on investment. That trip is going towards your content that you're filming on YouTube. Whether you make money back on that content, because after it becomes a business to you, every time you put out a piece of content, you're looking for a certain rate of return. The expenses that go against the production of that content versus what you make back based on views, clicks, and everything else. That's where it starts getting into the business aspect of being a YouTuber. But initially, like I said, until you get a good following and your ROI is going to be like this. Every time that you put out something, you already know you're going to get at least 9,000 to 10,000 views, and those views are going to equate to something. Whether you have something that's affiliate links inside of your description or whatever, there's a return based on the production value of whatever you're putting out. But up until then, you're kind of offsetting against those future gains on your affiliate links or your viewership. So Mr. Bacchus, I know you have a huge following. I know you know your numbers as far as how many times people are viewing, how many people are clicking through your description. If you have affiliate links, if people are clicking on that. So it gets real detailed if you want to track your information when it gets to that. So the write-off part is your net income minus all the different things that cost you money that month, that year, whatever, to go against your income. The biggest reason why we're doing this is we were talking, me and Kanal, about the game of earning an income but trying to keep the majority of it away from Uncle Sam. Everybody's heard of Trump and using loopholes when it comes to taxation. There are taxation benefits to a lot of corporations and individuals if you're aware of them. And when you're aware of them, you become aware that it becomes a gain to you. You make 100K, you're trying to keep at least 75K of it in your pocket. And the only way you can do that is to offset your income by write-offs. Now we're skipping, as brothers and sisters, we don't know all the games to the rules. So we're skipping off a lot of write-offs that you can take, even in your everyday lives, that you should be able to take off of that income that you're earning every year. So this is why the importance of this initial podcast was to make you guys aware. The game is to keep your income. You can brag all day that you make six figures, especially in the economy that today. a lot of people are making the income, and all of a sudden, when they get paid, they're looking at their hands like, "What the hell happened to all my money? What are you doing with it?
We have
Are
a
you aware of
question.
what you're doing with your money? Are you aware of the things that you're throwing away?" Go ahead.
Well, Baka says, "Do I need
Do
to
I
show
need to show
receipt
a
for my
receipt for
equipment?"
my equipment?
Yes, and let me answer that. Yes, you need to
Yep.
keep a receipt. So if you do buy secondhand equipment, make sure that person still writes you a receipt, and also to look up the current value of that camera or that lens that you're purchasing. So more than likely, when you report it, they probably look at the current value of that lens. It's not based on what you brought yesterday, but it's what's the value it is today. So always keep that in mind. Anytime you purchase any equipment or anything that's related to your business, always get a receipt. If even if it is a paper receipt where they handwritten it, make sure that you get their signature on it as well. Now, Alex mentioned something about the whole income tax bracket, because just recently I read the new 2023 tax brackets that recently came out, and I learned something valuable. I learned how this country works, and basically, if you fall within a certain income, you are taxed heavily. I mean, very heavy. And lucky for me, the past couple of years I've been doing good financially, where I broke over 200K, and out of that 200K, I was taxed at 47%. So really, I didn't see it. It was just like, okay, yeah, because once you pass $90,000, it's a big jump on the tax.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, if you fall between 185 and more, man, and you don't have no assets and no ownership or anything that you could use as a write-off, you're getting taxed 47%. So yes,
Exactly.
it's a flex to say, hey, I'm making six figures. All right, cool. I think nowadays the new middle class is making six figures, because that doesn't put you in. I mean, yes, based on the statistics, only a small percentage of America is actually making over six figures. However, based on the current cost of living and way of life, making six figures is going to be the new middle class. And the thing is, you're getting taxed like crazy.
Right.
If you're single and have no assets to lean on, because they're gonna just tax you. So always keep that in mind. It's like, yes, although you're making more than 200,000, 300,000, whatever, make sure that you got things in place that's gonna help you keep your money.
We're talking about receipts right now, but the receipts are if you're getting audited. I came from an industry where I had to keep everything that I ever did with the client for almost 10 to 15 years before I could throw it away, just in case there was some blowback on what I sold as far as a policy and insurance. The quickest advice I could tell you is, if you get a receipt, snap a picture of it, document it that way. When you come home, digitize everything into a folder, put it on a flash drive, and record it in a folder for a month. That's where all your receipts are. You get what I'm saying? If you don't want to keep the paper laying around, which it can become cumbersome trying to keep track of all your paperwork, especially in certain countries, get that receipt, show that you spent money on food, average out what your food is per day. They're not going to hold you to the penny. Okay. You can average what you're spending. Like when you work for a company, you had a per diem. Okay. You might have gotten $40 or $50 a day for per diem. And that per diem was supposed to cover all your meals, your food, or whatever entertainment, because they were inconveniencing you by having you out of town, away from your home. Same thing with you as a person. Put yourself on a per diem per day that you're going to try to average out to hit or come close to, that you feel like needs to be your food and drink budget outside of entertainment. Okay, so when you travel, you have an idea of how much you want to spend, so you don't necessarily overspend either. You can choose to splurge when you want to, but if you put yourself on a reasonable per day per diem, you can kind of figure out how much you're spending per day. You know what I mean? But yeah, hold on. Some of these questions are flying by me so quick in comments. Yeah, it's not a good thing to use cash. Like I said, with technology now, everything's electronic. Credit cards track everything. Make sure you're printing out your bank statements, your credit card statements, keeping a file on that, or at least electronically filing everything. I just got in the habit of scanning everything I ever had, even my clients' folders. I instead of keeping paper, I kept electronic copies of everything. So I would say start organizing your year. We're already in October. The year's only got a couple more months left. So for all those that have already taken trips, go back, document those months that you were gone, go back to your bank statements, go back to the things that you spent money on in those months, look at how much you expended, and look how much you can write off. Keep that organized. So when you sit down with your CPA, your tax preparer, you can let them know, hey, I filmed this. This is part of my content. I need to have additional write-offs besides what you normally figure for me because I have a job. And these are the write-offs you're giving me normally for my job. A content provider is a side hustle, even though it's a sole proprietorship. You're documenting it, you're putting on film. That's proof positive that you're doing something with the activity or with that item so that you have the right to write it off. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, everything you just said, and Fearless just made an awesome comment. A write-off is a business expense that reduces taxable income on the income statement. Example, when you make 100K,
Right.
you have expenses of 20K for your business. You only pay taxes on 80K, not 100K. Yes, I learned that. I learned that as of this week, that it doesn't matter if you make, $300,000. The goal is to position yourself making $90,000. I'm gonna say this again.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
It's the flex is in the income. The flex is keeping the income that you make. The flex is keeping the income that you make.
So
just like in retirement, and what I prep my clients with is the flex is to move from taxable investments to tax-free investments and growth, to where you're not paying Uncle Sam in retirement when you need most of your money. So those are the flexes. Is not to make the income, it's to keep the majority of whatever you make. You can make a comfortable living at 75 to 100K if you're only paying 15% of that to Uncle Sam. Think about it. You're working smarter, not harder, in order to be more comfortable than somebody's making 250, but they're paying damn near 45, 50%, and they're throwing money away because they're not writing off the stuff they're spending it on as some type of a deduction. They're blowing the money.
Bacchus, you got jokes, man.
No, mangoes cannot be written off. Mangoes cannot be written off, brother, unless it's some kind of business thing.
I mean, unless you go to an establishment and you use credit card, they give you a receipt. You could position it as a business meeting, man.
Hey,
well,
you're in Japan, where legally part of buying mangoes is in Japan, that's part of the entertainment part of business. You might be able to pull that off in the U.S. IRS tax code. But there's a video I prepared, and Kanal can put the link in. It's not for everybody. Only the people in this room and the people to come back and visit this room later. That link is only it's a private link. So anybody that clicks on that link inside the description once Kanal launches this for public consumption, that link will have a video to break everything down for you. As far as what's what, it goes into good debt versus bad debt, the pros and cons of investment with Bitcoin. There's a lot of information that we didn't want to bore you guys with.
Yeah.
But it's there. So even though it seems like we're not structured in what we're saying, there was an idea behind why we're doing this. But we also wanted to open it up and keep it entertaining, because talking about taxes can be boring.
Yeah. I mean,
it's necessary information that you guys need to think.
Yeah, it's just like when I initially spoke to Alex about this, I knew for a fact that, hey, we both knew coming in, like, this is not a fun topic. This is a topic you have between you and your boys drinking a beer and just like, all right, hey, what can I do to keep more money in my pocket? Like, after I saw the amount of taxes that I paid, I was like, and I learned how the tax bracket system works. I'm like, okay, I need to position myself making $90,000 on paper. Because you making six figures on me a goddamn thing if you're getting taxed 50% of that. So, and also too, we talked about, how you can leverage your credit to actually, enhance your travel experience. Guys, I have multiple credit cards that I use. And those credit cards, I earn points and rewards. And you best believe I use my rewards and my points. Hotels, flights. Use your credit card as a way to build up your points so you can get more miles. Instead of using your debit card, just use your credit card. And every 15 days, use the cash that you're going to use on your debit card to pay off your credit card. And that alone, then depending on the promotion of the credit card, they may give you four, 5, or 10 times the points based on the season. Like right now, Citi Card and Chase is having like, you get, for every purchase you get 5 times the miles. So they give you a certain time window between, let's say, Halloween and Christmas. If you use your credit card to spend this amount of money, you get these amount of mileages, which is a good thing. So what I'll do is I'll use that credit card for my daily expense, but I still got the cash in my debit or my checking account. I just take that and just transfer it to my credit. So I gain all the miles, and I get my credit points, and my credit stays in good standing. Hey. What's up, Fearless?
I take that even one step further. I take that step even one step further. The things I know I'm going to pay, my normal expenses, my rent, things like that, I use my credit card. And then I pay my credit card off to compensate for my mortgage and everything else that I normally are going to pay anyway. I use that to build up my travel points, because those are bills I'm not going to pay anyway. Why not put it on my credit card and then pay my credit card off before the end of the month, so I'm not getting any interest, but I'm also building up points and usage of my credit card for travel.
Correct.
What's going on, Fearless?
Yeah. We can't hear you. Yeah.
I won't stay long. I'm in a hackathon at work, so I'm.
Oh, okay. Say your point, man. I mean,
but I wanted to go with your point, Kendall. So if you know, I always grew up. I played sports and played football, and I remember when I was back in Cincinnati, there was a person who got drafted. And the first thing they did was set up like this nonprofit and was giving money away. And I was like, why would somebody do that? And it's because I didn't know the money game. And so I started making a lot of money. And so what you were saying is true.
Right.
I use my, I tried to display it here, but like my profit and loss sheet. So I try to use my YouTube to actually lower my tax bracket. I'll give you a good example. You make $100,000 and you just spent $20,000 on your travel, on your equipment, and all of that. Now you pay taxes on $80,000. So you've actually spent, the government wants you to spend money on your business. So you've actually spent $20,000 on your business, and you haven't done, you don't have that profit to pay. So when you get to a certain tax bracket, what got me is just the same thing that got you. I started off in IT and I got advanced very quick. I went from like 40,000 and I started going way up, and I wasn't prepared for that. And I was like, hold up, what you mean I owe $8,000? 8,000? How did that happen?
Yeah.
And that's when I talked to my financial advisors. That you got to find some things to write off. If a kid, a business. And I was like, can I do YouTube? She's like, yeah, if you do the travel thing.
I don't know about the kid part.
What's that? But she's like, hey, here's a
I work in sales, so my
No,
I did a deal for the state of California, and it was worth over $5 million. Yeah, I did a deal in the state of California. It was worth over $5 million for flu vaccine. I used to do pharmaceutical sales, so that commission to me was a $300,000 check. You don't think I try to figure out how to write as much of that off and work with my president in order to pay me out over a period of time? I broke that $300,000 down to minute payments over a period of 12 months. I did not want the whole $300,000 at once.
Oh no, you're lucky. I try to get my bonuses.
Let's break this down into some.
No, You're right. I think people don't understand that. The
Good.
more you make, like when I get a bonus, I hate getting the bonus. I want my bonus in stock or something else, because here's what happens. When you get a bonus, you know what the tax rate on the bonus is?
50%, 60%.
Exactly. So if they give you a $25,000 bonus, you're not walking away with $25,000. So that's why you have to find a way to write some things off, to use the business for it. But I want to make sure, I think Ruckus said something that may not actually be true about if you live outside the United States. I don't care how long you live. If you look, and I don't know where my visa is at, look on your visa. It says it don't matter where you are in the world, you're gonna pay taxes in the United States. There's people that don't, and they can't come back because they owe. So you have to file whatever thing with the IRS, no matter how long you at, and they want to tax you for whatever income you made overseas. And I think U.S. and another country is the only place in the world that does that. It says we want to tax you on money that you made and you're not even here, because they say you may be, you may live somewhere else, but you are a resident of the United States. And so that is why a lot of people are, what's the guy's name? It was the crying song, Brian McKnight. Brian McKnight gave up his American passport to become a Bohemian from the Bahamas citizen because of tax rates. And I think another one from founder of Facebook, one of the guys that was on Facebook, not the Hive and the twins. They went to like Singapore or something. They became Singapore citizens only for the taxes. So it doesn't matter if you live out of the country, you're going to pay them taxes.
Yeah.
And I didn't do mine the way
dual citizenship becomes an option sometimes in taxation.
Correct. Now, I didn't do mine. I didn't create an LLC or anything like that. I just, on my tax form, I just stated I had a business. And that's how I knew that, you know, I was doing it for write-offs. And when it came up to the third year, she was like, look, you know, you can take a loss for 3 or 5 years, but you have to show, so it's a legitimate business, some type of income that you've made. You can't just keep writing off.
Yeah.
So just be wary of that. So
yeah, you're right. You're totally right about that. One thing I've done too, I create a EIN number, a tax EIN. So I'm not using my personal social security. I'm using my business tax ID. So my credit cards is under my business tax IDs. So that's one way I actually use to help offset some of my expenses. But even I'm using my personal income to support my business.
Correct. I'm looking up something, guys, because I always see this when I go out of town, and I wanted to tell the guys here. All right. So
you said I'm going to fake my death. Bacchus is on one today. What you drinking on, Bacchus? I want some.
I want to see if I can put this in the chat. So,
but yeah, there's so many different strategies, and what I was telling Kanal.
Go ahead.
What I was telling Kanal was there's so many different ways that you can layer a business on top of. Yeah. I got a delay. I apologize.
Yeah, he has a delay. So
you can layer companies on top of companies. They're called holding companies, and then you have companies that actually, yeah. So I'm going to shut up and let Fearless talk since I got a delay.
Give me 1 second, guys. I wanted to put this in the chat, but I'll read it instead because I noticed this when I was traveling. But I thought it was because of the fact that I was using like a buddy pass when I was going, because every time I would leave out, they would say, hey, we owe you some money. I was like, oh, okay, that's great. I get to have it. But if you go to Colombia, and I'll read this, because the last time I went down to Colombia, and I kept seeing this sign that says, you know, take this QRL screenshot for taxes. And then I asked a person what that means. And it says, Taxes and Customs of Colombia will refund to foreign tourists visiting Colombia 100% of the tax they pay on purchases of goods taxed in the Colombia territory. So wherever you go, your hotel tax, your any of those taxes,
Wow.
they will give you that money back that you paid. So when you get to the airport and say, I have that on the app, you get all the tax money that you paid while you're in Colombia. So you guys that are traveling to Medellin to get the mangoes, you go to a restaurant, hotel, make sure you look that up. When you're in the airport, they have a QR code you can take, and you get those taxes off. I took advantage of that the last time I went.
Oh yeah, and how was the process when you did that? Was it easy?
They have it on the app. You
Okay.
have it on the app. You do the receipts, and not even an issue.
Wow.
Not even. An issue.
I knew someone who actually did that a few years back.
There
He
you
kept
go.
all the receipt and he reported it and he got the money back. He got all his taxes back in Colombia.
And it's when I went, it was immediate, meaning it wasn't like, oh, we're gonna mail you the money.
No, yeah. He got it at the airport.
They had a box at the airport, and you signed something with your passport number, and they paid you right then and there. Before you got on the plane, you got your money.
Yeah.
So I loved it.
Wow.
Yep. So
that's impressive.
I was.
How
looking
many people
for
going to Colombia know that? Really?
Yeah.
How many people going to Colombia know that?
None. A lot of them don't.
Is there anything else you want to add on? Because I know you said you're doing some.
No, I'm not sure. I'm gonna help these people do some hacking tools. I just wanted to jump on.
Yeah, definitely.
And the only thing I'm gonna say to you guys, it does, like you said, doesn't matter how much money you make. It matters how much you can take home.
Yeah.
So just make sure you find those business ways. Do it smart, because that's how the rich keep their money. You see, they keep their money. That's how they do it, and that is the reason. We are employed, so we pay a higher tax bracket than somebody getting their money doing dividends. That's why some Fortune 500 or CEOs, they say, I want to get paid in stocks and pay me $1 a year. And you're like, what? Because they're not really getting taxed on that $1. And the 7% compared to 45% that they would pay on taxes is a killer. So travel, but travel smart, guys, because you can spend more money on that and you will enjoy yourself. Exactly. It's great that and I was told, and I'll let you guys go after this, either you're going to pay this $13,000 to Uncle Sam, or you could have used that on your business and travel. So I decided I'd rather travel instead of paying Uncle Sam that money.
I agree. Well, thank you, brother, man, like always.
Great. I'm going to be listening. So carry on, guys. A great show, great information. I hope that people listen to this because the information is great. It's not mangoes, but it's money. And Chris Rock said you can always get chicks by chasing money, but you can never get money by chasing chicks. I'll see you.
Later, bro.
Hello. Unless you're a pimp.
Yeah, again, guys, this is not an exciting rah-rah topic. It's what it is, but this is what will separate you from the crowd and how you maneuver in these countries and how you do things. The more information you know, the better. And that's something that I'm starting to understand now. Information is key. Do your own research, guys. Just like how you planning for your trips, don't rely on somebody else's experience to dictate your experience. Take the time, do your research, plan, and follow through. Because again, I can have an amazing, great time in one country and give you the same information, then you could turn around and have a miserable time. So always keep that in mind. And there's ways you could cut a lot of your expenses through traveling and just understanding the tax codes, the loopholes in regards to like how to actually do things, and also to leverage your credit, guys. One thing is, I'm first generation Haitian American. I came here when I was 6 months old in 1978. I never had anyone teach me the importance of money, the importance of credit. I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn where my credit score was like 520 at one point because I didn't know. And it took me to actually realize, like, hey, listen, Credit is your friend. Use credit as a leverage. And once you understand that, man, your credit score jump up to 750. You can have anything you want in a heartbeat. And trust me, the credit limits don't be like no $300 credit limit. I'm speaking about $25,000, $40,000 credit limit. So understand that, guys. Take advantage of these airline credit cards as well. Take advantage of these promotional sales that, you know, if you use your credit card within a certain time frame, you get triple, quadruple the points or mileage. Take advantage of that stuff, because again, instead of you using your credit card, instead of using your debit card, use your credit card and take that same debit card to pay off your credit card. Alex?
Correct. You're absolutely on point, man. You know, you just got to work smart when it comes to your money. Like I said, the game is to keep it. And there are plenty of loopholes, and there are plenty. I'm going to stop saying loopholes because they're not really loopholes. They're rules. As long as you know the rules to the game, apply them. You know, it's not a loophole. It's not a trick. It was written there for a reason. Only the professionals know about it, and certain key people. Obviously, all your congressmen know about it. You know, all the rich people know about it. I wonder why everybody else don't know about it. You know, but once, you know, certain people get in the financial district, they either keep that guarded or they share it. I'm the type of person, I share it. You know, I've learned a lot from mentoring around a lot of white folks that had a lot of money, you know, and they let me in on some things, and I don't have a problem with sharing it, or at least giving you the concepts behind it. Howard Hughes, okay? Howard Hughes was one of the richest men in the world in his time frame, multi-billionaire by today's standards. He had so many companies that had holding companies, that had holding companies, that had holding companies. This man qualified to get what you would call Social Security. He qualified like he was broke. You know what I mean? And the reason that is because he was indebted, and each one of his holding companies owned a portion of whatever businesses he was in. You can literally close a business today if something was going on, open up an LLC or whatever in a different name, take all your equipment and everything else. Instead of somebody, the bank seizing all your stuff is owned by different holding companies. They're indebted. You're indebted to those holding companies because they own your stuff, but they're your companies. You take your stuff, you move it over to another company, you open it up in a new business name, you're right back to work. This is what people do that know. When you hear somebody say, "Oh, I'm filing bankruptcy," that ain't a big thing. They're basically filing bankruptcy on a name and an LLC, but they got 5 other LLCs they can roll all that stuff over to. They're not losing anything. It's a loss against their overall income. Sometimes people will file bankruptcy so they can show a loss against some other businesses, so it looks like they took a loss overall in their overall personal income when they didn't.
I mean, sometimes they file bankruptcy to protect their assets. And that's something
Correct.
that, you know, within the Black community, you know, credit, we're not taught credit. We're not taught how to actually use our money. I remember as a kid, my mother used to put her money underneath the mattress. I remember that. I remember that because I used to be the one I used to pick up the mattress and take money out of that damn envelope.
All the baby boomers did it. All the baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
But my thing is this, guys. Understand your tax bracket. Like whatever your income is, you fall into a tax bracket. Understand what are you able to actually qualify for. The more information you know, the better. Because again, if you have a good accountant, he or she's going to protect you. They're going to tell you what you could do. Like my boy does mines. He tells me everything. Like, no, you know, you could do this, you could do that. And it's just like, but at the same time, I need to do the effort on my part to look up a lot of these new tax laws that's popping up all over the place. The more you know, the better. So again, yeah, it's cool that you make 6 figures. However, you want to position yourself making $65,000 or $50,000 on paper. People don't need to know how much money you make, because that's not important anymore. Because at the end of the day, there's been a recent study how a lot of the upper middle class are literally living check to check. because they're living way above their means. They have car notes, mortgage, credit cards, multiple credit cards with high debt, student loans. So yeah, I want to, a chick will say, hey, I want a guy that makes 6 figures, but okay, but he's living off of $20,000 in his pocket. And that 80,000 is unaccounted for. He's living a good life. So, hey guys, just live below your means, travel smart, find out what some of the tax laws are that could benefit you, leverage your credit to enhance your travel experience. Again, you got all these point systems, miles that people are not even using. I think I came across an article that says that at least only 20% of people actually use their miles. Only 20% of most credit card users
airlines use
their miles. Yeah. 20%. So
they
that means that
they
80%,
take it for granted. They already know that most people aren't going to use the stuff or the benefits behind the credit card, but they got you on the interest rate from the credit card.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So it's a game for them too. Hey, we'll give you mileage, but they know most of the people aren't going to utilize the mileage, but they're definitely going to get the interest off of you using that card for them.
Yeah. Well, one thing I do, guys, and I think recently Delta Airlines just recently changed their mileage point system, and people are currently pissed off about that. So what I do, all my airline points, I use them. Spirit, Frontier, Delta, American. I said Spirit Airlines. I use Spirit Airlines as well. I use all of my airlines miles. I don't let nothing roll over, because again, you just never know when they're going to change it. And once they change it on you, you lose those mileages. Just like what Delta just recently did. A lot of people lost their statuses.
Right. But I encourage you guys, there's a link that he dropped in the chat room, but hopefully you log it into the description line after we get off of here. Drop that in there so they can click on that link. There's a lot of detailed information that we're kind of glazing over. If you guys take the time, it's a short 15-minute video, and it goes off of different ideas behind taxation, what's good and bad debt, different things like that you kind of opens your minds up. What's asset depreciation? What's asset relocation versus allocation? You know what I'm saying? Different thought processes to understand how to utilize your income in order to protect it from Uncle Sam taking it all, because you're just not doing the right things and not being smart with your money, because he has no problem with taking it from you. He allowed you to have the rules, but if you don't know the rules to the game, they'll take your money. Correct.
And thanks again to Fearless Podcast for jumping on the live stream. He shared a lot of great information. Again, guys, if you in Colombia, doesn't matter what city, keep all the receipts and all the taxes that you pay for, you could actually get reimbursed. So go ahead and look into it. As you prepare for your trip to go to Colombia, just look it up. You can actually go to the airport, carry all the receipts. You can report it through an app, and you'll get reimbursed all the taxes you paid while you're there. I'm not sure the Mango's going to give you a receipt, but hey, you could try to ask for it.
That's flipping awesome, though. I did not know that. That's actually a plus for me to want to go to Colombia, and I've never been. I like that.
Yeah, this is it right here. So, guys, look it up. Look it up, guys. If you plan to go to Colombia, look up the tax reimbursement and follow the process. But guys, I'm not going to keep this long, because again, this is not a interesting topic. Alex and I, we kind of geek out when we talk about this on the phone. So, it's like, hey, but besides that, look, take advantage of the information that's been given to you. There's a lot of information that a lot of brothers decide to be ignorant on. You don't have to be. As you prepare for your travel, as much as you plan for your travels, learn some of the benefits that you have access to by simply looking it up. Understand where you fall in the tax bracket. How can you hide some of your cash where you can report less, and just travel smart, man. Alex, I'm gonna have you close it out, man. What you think?
My biggest thing is learn the rules of the game. If you're going to earn money in the United States know how to keep it. You know, the United States have strict rules when it comes to the IRS. So many people are benefiting from utilizing those rules in order to write off what is legal. You know, it's not hiding, it's not finding loopholes, it's just understanding the rules of the game. If you're going to play in the United States and you want to floss the fact that you're making six figures, and that's great, how much of that are you keeping? And how much of it are you keeping because you know the rules, or you're trying to hide it all? Don't hide it, because you don't want Uncle Sam to come looking for you either. You know, go ahead and do the honest thing, but understand the honest thing is also written in the rules so that you can write certain things off. Be smart with your money. Don't just spend it on anything that does not provide some type of interest coming back to you, or has some kind of net gain to it. You know, you can waste a lot of money, but if you're going to waste a lot of money, at least put it on a document to where you can get some of it back. You know, These trips you guys are spending a lot of money on. I know a lot of you guys are travel vloggers and probably haven't written off a dime of it for all the years that you've done it. You've done it out of your pocket saying it's a vacation, but you documented it. That's a business. You're a sole proprietor, whether you're turning a profit or not.
I agree. I totally agree. So with that being said, guys, have a
Lots
amazing
of video.
Yeah. Have an amazing night, or good night. And tomorrow we'll be back live. Tomorrow I'm actually highlighting my Cuba trip, which I took about a couple of months ago. And also too, on Friday, we're going to have a fun podcast. We're going to talk about Brazil. I'm going to give you guys the real truth that goes down in Brazil. And again, and I want to share some of my receipts of Brazil. So with that being said, guys, have amazing work week. have amazing work week. Make sure to like the videos before you log off. And thank you again, guys. This is not a fun topic. This is a needed topic. I think a lot of brothers need to know some of the benefits of actually leveraging your credit, but also understanding the tax system. Use it to help cover your expenses, man, especially if you have a business. So with that being said, thank you so much. Have a good night, and talk to you guys tomorrow, man. Later. Peace.
$75 That's how much time you get if you're lucky. 75 years, 75 winters, 75 springtimes, 75 summers, and 75 autumns. When you look at it like that, it's not a lot of time, is it? Don't waste them. Get your head out of the rat race and forget about the superficial things that preoccupy your existence and get back to what's important now. Right now, this very second. And I'm not saying drop everything and let the world come to a grinding halt. I'm saying that you can become a seeker. You can be loving more. You can be taking some chances. You can be living more. You can be spending more time with your family. You can be getting in touch with the part of you that lives instead of fears, the part of you that loves instead of hates.